With that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
Right.
Everybody now has an opportunity to pull up their chair and have a seat.
For the past year, we've watched Cheryl Swoopes target Caitlin Clark with bizarre claims that she's a 25-year-old playing against teenagers, that her rookie season isn't impressive, that nobody wants to play with her.
For the past year, Cheryl Swoopes has launched a relentless and bizarre campaign against Caitlin Clark, targeting the rookie phenom with a series of outlandish and easily disprovable claims. From accusing Clark of being a 25-year-old playing against teenagers to downplaying her historic rookie season and even suggesting no one in the league wants to play with her, Swoopes seemed obsessed with discrediting one of the WNBA's brightest young stars.
Stepped into the ring. The basketball legend and former Clark coach just delivered a knockout blow on the All the Smoke podcast, calling Swoopes a big dummy and dismantling the false narratives. Miller's putting Swoopes in her place, and her defense of Caitlin.
Then came Cheryl Miller. The basketball icon and former All-Star game coach didn't just join the conversation, she flipped the entire narrative. Appearing on the All the Smoke podcast, Miller delivered a knockout response, labeling Swoopes a big dummy and systematically tearing down every misleading claim. Her fiery defense of Clark sent shockwaves through the community and unexpectedly hinted at something thrilling on the horizon for the Indiana Fever. If you weren't paying attention before, it's time to tune in.
Seems so determined to tear down the WNBA's brightest new star. Let's unpack the bizarre crusade Cheryl Swoopes has waged against Caitlin Clark from her college days right through her rookie season.
Let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
It all started with...
But before we break down Miller's explosive statements, it's worth asking, why has one of the sport's most revered legends made it her mission to undermine Caitlin Clark from the start? The answer lies in a campaign that began during Clark's collegiate rise and has followed her into the professional ranks with growing intensity.
Rules. A weak excuse that didn't hold water.
Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
But Swoopes was just getting started. She went on to claim that Clark took 40 shots a game, painting her as a selfish volume shooter.
It all began when Swoopes made a head-scratching claim that Clark, during her college run at Iowa, was a 25-year-old competing against much younger athletes. The truth? Clark was 22, like countless other seniors finishing their fourth year. When pressed, Swoopes awkwardly tried to justify it with references to COVID eligibility, but the damage was done. Her credibility began to crumble, and the campaign against Clark only grew more questionable.
Shifted tactics, questioning the legitimacy of the achievement by suggesting Clark needed a fifth year to break it.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me...
That was just the opening salvo. Swoopes then claimed Clark was a selfish, high-volume shooter who took 40 shots a game, another blatant falsehood. The reality? Clark averaged 22.7 attempts. Ironically, Swoopes herself averaged nearly 19 shots during her own senior year, just a 3-shot difference. As Clark neared the NCAA's all-time scoring record, Swoopes shifted tactics once again, now questioning the legitimacy of the record itself by suggesting Clark needed a fifth year to break it.
Is it truly a broken record?
This was completely false. Clark shattered the record in 4 years, the same amount of time as other college players. Swoopes conveniently ignored that the COVID eligibility rule...
Wrong again. Clark broke the scoring record in just 4 years, the same time frame as every traditional college athlete. Despite being eligible for a fifth year, Clark declined it. Then came Swoopes' prediction that Clark wouldn't make an impact in the WNBA. But as Clark shattered rookie assist records and led the league in playmaking, Swoopes' commentary dried up. The numbers silenced the noise: 19.2 points per game, a league-best 8.4 assists, and a clear path to Rookie of the Year. The evidence was undeniable.
Establishing herself as one of the league's premier playmakers, Swoopes mysteriously went quiet. The numbers speak for themselves. Clark finished her rookie campaign averaging 19.2 points and a league-leading 8.4 assists per game, silencing the doubters and securing Rookie of the Year honors.
Didn't say she wouldn't be good. What I said was I didn't think Caitlin or Angel would come into the league and dominate immediately, which I don't think either of them did.
Respectfully, there is absolutely no way, even when we're trying to sit here and play semantics about dominating, there's no way that anyone could ever leave this season in saying that both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese didn't dominate. You would have to further explain what dominance means for you to...
Swoopes later tried to soften her stance by claiming she never said Clark wouldn't be good, just that she and Angel Reese wouldn't dominate right away. But even this revision doesn't hold up. Leading the league in assists while averaging 19+ points isn't just good, it is dominance. And while trying to walk back her earlier rhetoric, Swoopes appeared on Angel Reese's podcast, continuing to undermine Clark while insisting she didn't dislike her. The contradiction spoke volumes.
Told her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that, you know, there was this quote by Cheryl that said, you know, Caitlin was, 25 years old. She was, however old, 24 years old. She was a fifth-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate.
The basketball world took notice of this pattern. And eventually, Swoopes was removed from
Eventually, the backlash caught up. The WNBA world had seen enough. Swoopes was quietly pulled from broadcasting a Fever game and replaced by another legend, Nancy Lieberman, who didn't hesitate to challenge the misinformation being peddled about Clark. It was a turning point, signaling that credibility matters when the stakes are this high.
Who didn't hesitate to call out the misinformation being spread about the rookie sensation.
I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend and I said, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts.
And then, finally, someone with real authority stepped forward. Cheryl Miller entered the All the Smoke studio and ignited the conversation. As someone who's both played at the highest level and coached Clark herself, Miller's voice hit different. Her presence didn't just challenge the narrative, it shattered it. This was the moment fans had been waiting for, a legend calling out the pettiness and setting the record straight.
Cheryl, I'm not doing anything to hurt you, I'm just sharing, we're talking. And so our relationship it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me. My life's going to be good or great with or without Cheryl Swoopes in my life.
The basketball world was desperately waiting.
Miller didn't mince words. Her now viral statement, "Come on, you big dummies," sent the studio into hysterics. But behind the humor was a serious message. Miller had seen Clark's dedication, grit, and professionalism up close. This wasn't just an analyst reading off stats, this was a Hall of Famer defending a rising star from baseless criticism. And she wasn't afraid to call out the double standards being used against Clark.
Backyard, she was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given.
Miller didn't just casually support Clark. She came with fire and precision that only someone of her stature could deliver. Her now viral comment directed at critics like Swoopes said
Miller spoke a truth that many critics refuse to confront. Caitlin Clark's impact isn't limited to her on-court brilliance. Her presence is lifting the entire league, raising viewership, ticket sales, and even player salaries. Ironically, that includes the very people trying to tear her down. Her influence extends beyond the box score, reshaping the economics of women's basketball in real time.
Right. Come on, folks are still waiting for it to fall.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yep.
So, with that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
It's the uncomfortable truth that Clark's critics don't want to admit. Her presence has elevated the entire league, including the paychecks of those criticizing her.
You recently coached the WNBA All-Star game. You spent some time with Caitlin Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
Best
ever.
coaching job ever.
What made Miller's defense even more powerful was that it wasn't theoretical. She had coached Clark at the 2024 WNBA All-Star game. She'd observed her up close, not just the flash or highlight reels, but the real player, the work ethic, the attention to detail, the humility, and leadership. And what Miller saw surprised even her. Clark wasn't just talented, she was transformational. Cheryl Miller didn't need a long-winded speech to undo months of twisted narratives. With one powerful reflection, I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't the truth. She obliterated the media noise surrounding Caitlin Clark. But she didn't stop at debunking falsehoods. Miller pulled back the curtain and offered a rare, heartfelt glimpse into what truly sets Clark apart from the noise. Behind Miller's sharp analysis of Clark's basketball IQ lies something even deeper, a personal connection forged in the crucible of one of Clark's most trying stretches. When the Indiana Fever finally broke through with their first win of the 2024 season, it wasn't just another box score moment. It was an emotional breakthrough. And in that moment, Miller gave Clark something that no statistic could measure: unconditional belief. No platitudes, no filters, just real support when it was needed most.
That she's not speaking from speculation. She's speaking from direct experience. After coaching Clark in the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, Miller had a front row seat to evaluate Clark's game beyond the highlight reels. And what she discovered surprised even her.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despised. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good.
The embrace between Miller and Clark after that first Fever win wasn't just a feel-good moment for the cameras. It was a visual confirmation of how emotionally isolated Clark had become amidst the tidal wave of criticism. As Miller described it, the moment was raw, real, and unforgettable. I gave her the biggest hug I could. When she saw me, she was like, "Oh man, finally somebody who's on my side." Clark had been weathering the storm alone until that moment.
And how well she sees the game in a 3D version, thinker. Defensively, a lot better than I thought and gave her credit for. So watching her and just spending a little time. And one thing, guys, that I've learned is
in that vulnerable, emotional space, Miller didn't reach for cliches, she offered wisdom. Real advice from someone who's walked the path Clark is now blazing. "I'm so proud of you. Savor this. Use this as a formula. But keep being you. No matter what, keep being you." Those weren't just warm words, they were a roadmap. For a young player drowning in pressure, those words from a living legend became a lifeline.
Something almost no one else had. Unconditional support when the rookie needed it most.
she was getting hit with everything left and right. And I just said, I hugged her, I said, "I'm so proud of you." I go, "Savor this. Use this as a formula." I said, "But keep being you." I said, "No matter what, keep being you."
That embrace between Miller and Clark after Indiana's first victory wasn't just a casual interaction between.
When Cheryl Miller speaks, the basketball world doesn't just listen, they take notes. This is someone with 3 Naismith Player of the Year honors, 2 national championships, Olympic gold, and a spot in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Her words come with gravity. But Miller's support for Clark isn't about accolades, it's about what she sees. A playmaker with transcendent vision and a court IQ that can't be taught. Something the critics completely miss.
And it wasn't something that she self-anointed herself. It's something that's been placed on her head, and I hope people understand that. But it's everything that she's dealing with.
In that vulnerable moment, Miller didn't just offer empty platitudes. She provided the kind of guidance that only comes from someone who's walked a similar path. "I'm so proud of you. Savor this."
Miller zoomed in on the most underappreciated part of Clark's game, her elite passing. The one thing I don't think people appreciate about that young lady, she can pass the ball, Miller emphasized. That statement isn't fluff. It's an acknowledgement from one of the sport's greatest minds that Clark isn't just great, she's potentially game-changing. Her passing ability shifts her from star scorer to generational talent. What gives Miller's insight even more weight is her dual perspective, part player development expert, part analyst. During the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game, she got a front row seat to Clark's game beyond the hype. And in just one weekend, she saw enough to dismantle the barrage of manufactured narratives being pushed by certain voices within the league. It wasn't just about proving Clark's value, it was about recentering the truth. But the All-Star Game was more than just a mythbuster. It marked the beginning of a relationship that could change the course of WNBA history. When Clark, with a mix of excitement and humility, first referred to Miller as coach, neither of them fully realized what they were starting. That simple interaction sparked a connection that may just lead Indiana to its next championship era.
Carries the weight of an extraordinary legacy. 3 Naismith Player of the Year awards, 2 national championships, Olympic gold, and a place in the Basketball Hall of Fame. But Miller's support goes beyond her impressive resume. She sees something in Clark that many critics miss.
Clark didn't hide her admiration for Miller. From the very beginning, she saw her not just as a coach, but as a towering figure in basketball history. Obviously, Cheryl, she's one of the pioneers of our game. Just an awesome individual. Her personality radiates, Clark said with genuine respect. This wasn't manufactured PR, it was a young star honoring a living legend. And when the All-Star coaching announcement came, Clark's enthusiasm was electric. I was super excited when I heard that news, she shared.
Highlighting an aspect of Clark's play that transforms her from merely great to potentially transcendent. This wasn't just praise, it was validation from someone who recognizes basketball brilliance when she sees it.
I love what they've done for the women's game from a collegiate level to now, and it's working. And it was only a matter of time, and great narratives, great storylines, but now the bottom line comes down.
Despite her confidence on the court, Clark approached Miller during their first meeting with the awe of a student greeting her idol. I called her coach, and she said, "I don't know about that, we'll have to see how I do during the game," Clark recalled with a laugh. That humility, from both sides, laid the foundation for something authentic and rare in professional sports. And after spending time with Indiana's young core, Miller made it clear, Indiana has a very, very bright future. From someone with national titles and Olympic gold, that's not flattery, that's prophecy.
The game wasn't just about busting myths. It marked the beginning of a relationship that could transform the entire trajectory of the Indiana Fever. When Caitlin Clark nervously called Cheryl Miller coach for the first time, neither woman fully realized they were planting the seeds for what might become the WNBA's next championship powerhouse.
I've known Cheryl.
What impressed Miller the most wasn't just Clark's talent, it was the fearlessness of the entire Fever roster. "This is not a team people want to play," she stated firmly. "They're confident. They share no fear. They're fearless." That kind of mindset is what separates playoff teams from champions. And even Miller admitted she was surprised, not by the team's grit, but by their intelligence. "I didn't count on their basketball IQ being that high," she said. "It wasn't just execution, it was cerebral, high-level understanding. That's what elevates a good team into a great one." As we look toward the 2025 WNBA season, it's clear that something extraordinary is unfolding in Indiana. The connection between Caitlin Clark and Cheryl Miller isn't some made-for-TV moment, it's the bedrock of a championship-caliber rebuild. Clark sees Miller as a pioneer, a radiant personality, and a mentor. Miller sees Clark as a visionary with 3D court vision and generational instincts. When Miller told Clark, "I'm so proud of you. Savor this. Use this as a formula. But keep being you," she wasn't just encouraging her, she was passing the torch. In a league grappling with its identity, this alliance is everything right about the sport. The critics may keep shouting, but this is the story that matters, a legend lifting a rising star and helping build Indiana into the WNBA's next powerhouse. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications, because the Fever are heating up, and you don't want to miss what's next. Watch the video on your screen now, and we'll catch you in the next one.